Justin Hawkins writes again. Good day to you. It is I, Justin Hawkins. This is Justin Hawkins Rides Again, my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for those alerts, stroke notifications that you might miss. Nothing whatsoever. Nothing should escape thee. I've been pondering something that I saw mentioned in my comments a little while ago when I was celebrating how brilliant a year for music 1984 was, and somebody said, well, what about 1987? And then I reflected on that and I thought, oh my god, yeah, 1987, also a brilliant year for music, specifically rock music, or anything sort of rock based. Some amazing albums came out in those 2 years. Let me just go through a few of them. Okay, just as an example of some of the albums that were released in 1984. Van Halen, 1984. Bryan Adams, Reckless. You've got Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. Metallica, Ride the Lightning. There's just Prince and the Revolution, the soundtrack from the movie film Purple Rain. Compare that then to 1987, the greatest rock albums of 1987. Another Prince one, Sign of the Times. Another Bruce Springsteen one, Tunnel of Love. I prefer the other one, actually. U2, Joshua Tree, great record, my favourite U2 album. Def Leppard, Hysteria, we all know about that one, the one that was produced by Mutt Lange and is awesome. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, probably the greatest debut rock album by any band ever. George Michael Faith, some people like that, don't he? He wears a leather jacket in it and he looks quite rebellious with his earring and everything. That's kind of rock and roll in a way. Doom, doom, doom. 'Cause you gotta have faith, 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 faith. Yeah, like old-fashioned rock and roll. That counts. It counts. But anyway, so I've made a playlist in Spotify. The link to it's going to be in this description. And what I would like to do is demonstrate a bunch of songs that I think are the key players in the debate that has kept musicologists awake at night since the year 1988. That question is not rhetorical, it invites discussion, but is there a definitive answer? There's only one way to find out, and that's to have a vote. So please use the comment section below to vote as to whether you think 1984 or 1987 is the king of the years out of those two. So I've made a playlist, it's called 1984 versus 1987. Starts off with Bruce Springsteen doing Dancing in the Dark. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. I know there's a lot of stuff on that record that's great as well, but that's the one that's sort of up-tempo, gets you going, doesn't it? And then I chose When Doves Cry by Prince from the soundtrack of... Was it Purple Rain soundtrack? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. I chose Private Dancer by Tina Turner from the album Private Dancer. I wanted to say Tiny Dancer then, but the reason why I chose that is because of my now renowned dad rock leanings. This song was written by Mark Knopfler, one of my favourite guitar players, the guitar player from Dire Straits, obviously. I'm your private dancer, a dancer for money. Do what you want me to do. And then I put Big Bottom by Spinal Tap. Big Bottom, Spinal Tap. I had the privilege of playing, I might have mentioned this in every video, but I had the privilege of playing with Spinal Tap at Wembley. We did Big Bottom. There were many bass players. I was just one of, I think there was 8 bass players playing that. So anyway, yeah, I put Big Bottom on there. I could have put Sex Farm, anything from the This Is Spinal Tap soundtrack, but it's on there. And then I realised that there was a Queen album released in 1984, The Works, of course. There's a load of great songs on The Works, Hammer to Fall, Radio Gaga, but I put It's a Hard Life because that's the one where he wears a catsuit with all the eyeballs on it in a video that was directed by Tim Pope, I do believe. To learn to care for each other, to trust. Then I put the ultimate 84 floor filler. 80 floor filler. Actually, the next 3 songs are 84 floor fillers. Jump by Van Halen. We've already spoken about that. And then Drive by the Cars. Who's gonna drive you home tonight? This is a floor filler in a different way, actually. Can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Oh, who's gonna drive you home tonight? Oh, yeah. I love that song. It's a real tearjerker, isn't it, that one? Who's gonna drive you home tonight? And then Summer of '69. We've already talked about Bryan Adams' Reckless. What an amazing record.
I got my first real 6-string, bought it at the 5.
That's the record that got me thinking about 1984, actually. And then the last one I put on there is Pride in the Name of Love by U2 from the album Unforgettable Fire. So that's 1984 done. There's 10 songs from that year. Then I want you to compare them, contrast them to the 10 songs that I chose from 1987. Oh wait, no, shit, I've forgotten one. I can't believe this is so early, but I Want to Know What Love Is by Foreigner from the album Agent Provocateur. It's gonna take a little time. A little time to think things over. Gotta read between the lines in case I need it when I'm older. What's that chord there? Guess I need it when I'm older in my life. Oh, I love that song. I've gotta take a little time to think things over. Then I went into 1987 and I started off with a Def Leppard track from the album Hysteria, again a Mutt Lange production. Animal. And I want and I need. And then Paradise City. Oh God, you can't even say Paradise City without going. And then I put on Wildflower by The Cult. I talked about The Cult before. Oh, Here I Go Again. The reinterpretation from 1987 by Whitesnake. It was released in the 70s originally, but they changed one of the words and it was a little bit controversial, wasn't it? I don't think in the original he was saying hobo. And I don't know whether that's a bit of vernacular that sort of became outdated in the 80s or whether he was concerned that it sounded like a different word. And I don't know. I don't know whether it was... I don't know whether the choice to change it was made out of trying to be PC or just a belligerent sort of... I don't know why. But for whatever reason, this version is really, really popular because the production is amazing. It's super 80s. I kind of prefer the 70s one, but it's a great song anyway. So that's Here I Go Again, Whitesnake. Here I go again on my own. Going down the Then I put on This Corrosion by Sisters of Mercy. There's an album that they did in 1987 called Floodland, which is my favourite Sisters of Mercy album. Yes, I have a favourite Sisters of Mercy album. I'm just going to go to the album. You should hear some of the songs on this. This might be one of those top to bottom bangers. I'll probably have to do a whole episode on this. Dominion / Mother Russia. I love the video in that when he's walking around in a sort of dirty white suit in, I don't know, desert land somewhere. And then people are bringing him blueprints. He's got a walking stick. He can hardly hold himself up. And I think it's because the sun's too bright for him. Lucretia, My Reflection. Oh dear. But I put This Corrosion on because it's the one that's easiest to dance to. Sing this corrosion. In Excess Kick came out in 87, so I put New Sensation on there. That's my favourite In Excess song. 2.5 minutes into New Sensation by In Excess, you're going to hear what, for me, is the highlight of the whole song when he goes, "Hey, baby, hey." And then the drummer, instead of doing a fill going into that thing, so at the end of the sort of middle section when it's all, and all that stuff's going on, you'd expect it to go, but it goes, "Hey, baby, hey." So there's a drum fill after the last verse starts, and I just think that's really interesting. Just a tiny little bit of, topsy-turvy compositional arranging, and just for me, that's the highlight of the whole song. George Harrison released an album called Cloud 9 in 1987. But obviously the highlight from that is "Got My Mind Set on You." It's a brilliant one to play in if you happen to be a DJ. Just stick that one on. People love it. I think it was produced by Jeff Lynne, wasn't it, from ELO? I don't know. I might just be making that up.
I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you.
Then I put Seven Wonders from Tango in the Night by Fleetwood Mac. Say what you like about Tango in the Night. A lot of people dismiss that because it has such 80s production that really makes it of that time. But I think there's some brilliant songs on there. Lovely artwork as well. Isn't that lovely? It's gorgeous, isn't it? Look at that. Oh, I could look at that all day long. And I do sometimes.
If I live to see the seven wonders, I'll make a prayer to the rainbow.
The Joshua Tree by U2 came out in 1987. That's my favourite U2 album. I think it's amazing. I think it's produced by them and Brian Eno. I don't know. Let me have a look at the song credits before I start saying stupid stuff like that without even checking. It was produced by Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois. So I was nearly right. But this is my favourite song from it. I put In God's Country on there.
Set me alight. We'll punch your hole right through the night.
And then, finally, to complete the argument for 1987, I put Dude Looks Like a Lady from Aerosmith's Permanent Vacation. Of course, I've spoken about Aerosmith before. I've spoken about Permanent Vacation before. I didn't want to put one of the songs that I'd already used on a playlist before, so I stuck Dude Looks Like a Lady on it. Bit of a floor filler. Everyone knows that one. It was a hit, wasn't it? So... use the comment section below to tell me which of those 2 years you think has won the battle of the two randomly selected years from the 1980s, and then it will be crowned the king of the 80s from henceforth. It will henceforth be crowned king of the 80s. Justin Hawkins writes again. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and keep coming back. Watch one of these 2 videos in the meantime. Cheers.